Welcome back to Switzer. Right now we have political commentators talking Qantas. We also have business commentators, radio shock jocks, and even probably the galah at the local pet shop are all talking about the Flying Kangaroo. But let's talk to someone who can actually value a company like Qantas. That man, of course, is Roger Montgomery, Chief Investment Officer at Buckland Investment Management. I'm sorry, Montgomery.
David will love that.
I know he will.
David will love it.
Couldn't help it. It's my show. I can
Deputy, by the way, he is not
Lieutenant.
my deputy.
I call him your lieutenant.
He is the CEO of Montgomery Investment Management.
Yeah, but you look at an American company, the founder and chairman is still hovering above. But still, let's not fight about that. We'll fight about other things.
Flying kangaroos, they don't fly. I don't know if anyone's noticed.
No,
they
isn't
don't
that
fly.
interesting?
Yeah.
They do go off the ground for a while. Okay.
All right, so...
You've looked at Qantas before. You've bagged them in the past.
Well, I don't bag them. I just report what I see.
Yeah, but it's been a negative assessment.
Yeah, so the company has... This is the way that we think about businesses. Since 2000 to 2013, the company has asked shareholders to inject about $3 billion of capital. The banks have lent about $3.5 billion on top of the $3 billion that they had in debt back in 2000. So in other words...
Debt of how much?
They had debt of $3 billion. It's about $6.5 billion.
Injection of capital.
Capital's gone up by about $3 billion as well.
Yeah.
And so what's happened, it's gone from 1.2 to about 4 points. Oh, it's actually could be 3.5. Yeah. But so people have put money into this business. Now, in 2000, they earned about $450 million. Right now, they've just lost money. Last year, they lost money. So
how did that happen, mate? Like, the normal people would want it. How does that happen?
Well, it happens. It's very simple.
Yeah. I knew it would be.
It is very simple.
But people don't understand it.
When you charge people $49 to fly, you can just cover your costs, but you've got no money left over to buy new planes.
Okay.
And the new planes that you buy are much more expensive than the old planes that you had. But the accounting standards allow you to depreciate your old planes. So the expense that estimates the cost of running the aircraft is called depreciation.
Yeah.
And that's based on the historical cost of the aircraft using a straight line depreciation method. So every year it's the same amount. It's pretty boring.
Yeah.
But every year it's the same amount down to residual value.
Yeah.
You know. But here's the thing. Let's be like creative accountants. Let's make up our own entry. We pull out the depreciation charge. Forget about that. That's a made-up number anyway. And we put in provision for replacement cost of planes. And you've got to put money aside every year to have enough to replace the planes. A future cost. Yeah. If you put that expense in the P&L, you would find there would very rarely be a profit. There would very rarely be a profit. And so what airlines find themselves, the situation they find themselves in, is that they're constantly having to raise capital or borrow money to renew their fleet and update their fleet. And so today I heard an expert, for example, say on one of the TV programs, he said something like, Qantas's problem started when Virgin emerged as a low-cost carrier with a premium product. Qantas should be more like Virgin. Well, wake up Australia, Virgin lost money as well, right? They don't make money. And that is why Warren Buffett said in 1999 in Sun Valley in Idaho at the conference, he said, I hope that I would have had the presence of mind, had I been at Kitty Hawk in 1903 when Orville Wright took off, I hope that I would have had the foresight and the presence of mind for all future capitalists to have shot him down. He went on to say Karl Marx hasn't destroyed as much capital as airlines have for capitalists. You know, so airlines don't make money. And it was interesting listening to all the reasons outlined why Qantas is in this position. Qantas is in this position because it's an airline. That's it. And airlines...
It's a bad business.
They're bad businesses. They're bad business. They generate poor returns. And, you know, and an interesting piece of advice...
Have they ever had good returns? Has there been like a golden period where there was no competition?
In aggregate,
they overcharged and they did well.
In modern times, in aggregate, they don't make money. There are a few airlines that make money, but the difficulty is you've got capital intensity, which you have to replace your planes. You know, some of those tyres, just the tyres are $50,000, right? One tyre. You're capital intensive, you're labour intensive as well, and I know Alan Joyce is making some inroads into that, and he's talking about getting rid of 5,000 people in the next 3 years. But it's capital intensive, labour intensive, irrational competition. not normal competition, irrational competition. Then you've got competition in the United States. In the United States, where you can go into an airline can go broke, go into Chapter 11 bankruptcy, and keep operating as if they don't have any debt. And keep operating under Chapter 11 bankruptcy. So that how do you compete with that? Then you've got currency, then you've got fuel that you can't control, and today...
And government-owned airlines...
that get their fuel for free, or sovereign-owned airlines. And so, we heard today that Qantas had its highest fuel charge in any 6-month period in its life, in its history. I don't think that's going down. So what do we make of so-called more efficient aircraft that are going to be, save the company money? Well, as soon as as soon as fuel goes up, that overrides any efficiency gains.
Okay. Part of your
tough business.
Yeah, a part of your analysis also is to assess management. You're a Buffett follower.
Sure.
Buffett always says, "Let's rate the management." What do you think of the board and the CEO?
So I've said this before on your program when John Borghetti joined Virgin. Management can be an Olympic class rower. They could be the best in the world, and I think we've got two very, very good operators in Borghetti and Joyce. No doubt about that. But it doesn't matter how hard they row, their effort is wasted on the business boat they got into, because they're on the side of the boat is a dirty great big hole, and they're constantly being distracted from rowing and bailing the thing out. That's the problem. And another Buffett quote, if you don't mind.
I love a Buffett quote.
He said this, he said, when a manager with a reputation for brilliance gets involved in a business with a reputation for poor economics, it's the business's reputation that remains intact. The business will win.
Yeah, won't change.
It's very, very hard. What's going to change?
By the way, I'll play you a little clip to John on Monday night when he's on the program.
Sure. Well,
but I do know...
the last time I said that, you said, "Thanks, Roger, coming up after the break." John Borghetti. He was outside.
But the reality is he has said, not the same way as you, or as aggressively as you have, but he has said, you can be doing everything right, and all of a sudden the volcano just ruins your whole business model for 6 months or a year.
But even when everything's going right, you've got irrational competition. You've got companies, which is what Alan Joyce talked about today. You've got companies bringing capacity on in advance of demand that sometimes doesn't materialise. Then your yields fall, the prices you can sell your seats falls.
Okay.
It's just tough.
So
really tough.
Therefore, if Virgin is able to survive by having 3 airlines owned by governments backing them up, should Qantas, if they wants to at least survive, have the same kind of backup?
Clearly they should be allowed, they should be permitted to compete with Virgin on a level playing field, but the bigger picture is the tourism industry in Australia.
Yeah.
If we don't have a national carrier, then what happens? We saw it with Ford and Toyota and Holden. If you've got foreign owners, if something is marginal and it's not making money, they close it down eventually. What does that mean for some of our towns where currently Qantas and Virgin fly, where in the future they may not? We may find that not only do we not have manufacturing, but we have a big problem in our tourism industry as well. And I just wonder where else all those thousands and thousands of people are going to be employed, because the government has not had the foresight. I don't mean just this government, successive governments over decades. They've not had the foresight to say, well, you know what? The car industry is asking for a handout. They must be on their knees. We've got to get something else going. They did nothing about that.
So would you give Qantas the AAA debt rating?
I would do everything that I could to support our tourism industry and work for the national interest. Unfortunately, government is dominated at the moment by economic rationalists. Now, that's a bit of a sort of elitist term, but what it means is that our politicians, when talking about any topic, social welfare or whatever it is, it's all about the bottom line. It's all about the economics.
They're all Roger Montgomerys, aren't they, when you think about it? Because but you invest on the basis of what the numbers tell.
But I'm an investor, I'm not running the country.
You're saying a politician, a leader of a country, has to make a choice between, and that's the political debate.
You have to balance the economic side with the social benefit as well, and sometimes it's not about the economics, sometimes it's about printing money and getting something done for the long-term future benefit of the country.
Well, I'm surprised to hear you have this point of view, but it's great to see you're more than just one dimension, Roger. OK, let's move away from Qantas now. You've done your best on that. What have you seen from earnings season that will, because remember, it would have been probably just before Christmas, even before then, you said, look, I can't see value in the market.
Yes.
Then the market fell.
Yep.
Well, what did we fall about?
No,
7%?
I didn't predict that it was going to fall. All I said was it was expensive.
Yeah, expensive.
And
but it
we
fell.
couldn't find things, yeah.
And then
we were happy about that.
Did you find a bit of value then?
Yeah, sure. Car sales came up for us. Seek came up for us. Seek is our biggest position in the Montgomery Fund, and it was up, I think it was up 25% or 20% or something in a day. You know, it was phenomenal. Certex was another one. Certex was up over 20% in a day. So that, yeah, we found quite a few things.
Okay, but the point I'm making now is we've gone back close to where...
Very, very quickly
So are you saying I'm not seeing value in the market again?
Yeah, we had our investment committee meeting today.
Yep.
And I remember at the end of the meeting I concluded by saying, very, very disappointing, guys. Very disappointing. They all stopped and why is Roger disappointed? Yeah. Disappointing that we can't find things to buy again. Yeah. I think what we're going to find is we're going to find a lot of stockbrokers scraping the bottom of the barrel for ideas between now and the full year reporting season, which will be in August, September. Yeah. We're going to find them, you know, really finding it difficult to come up with ideas because the very good businesses that had great results have run very, very hard. Yeah. The ones that have fallen over, they deserve to have fallen over. The market seems to be in a period of what I call efficiency. It's correctly evaluated everything.
It's behaving like economic rationalists.
It's behaved as you would expect it to behave when things go badly for the companies that have gone badly and vice versa. So, rather conversely, you know, for things that have gone well. So, so at the moment, we're not finding many things to buy. Probably the closest thing the closest to value that we can see at the moment is probably Woolworths and maybe CSL. They're the two bigger cap that pay dividends.
And what about this Boynton prediction that the Aussie would go to 66 US cents?
I hope he's right.
Yeah, but what kind of companies off the head, like CSL is one that would benefit from that. Knowing the companies you do, when that kind of thing comes into the equation, it certainly would make some companies that look overpriced, underpriced, wouldn't it?
That's right. But what you have to do is, in thinking about currency, you don't bet on, you know, next year's earnings because the currency is going to go down. You've got to look through that period because inevitably the currency goes up and it goes down. You've got to look past that. When we made money out of Cochlear and we made a lot of money out of CSL, when analysts told us, you know, the currency's too high and they're not making any money, that was the time to buy it because when eventually the currency did fall, everyone re-rated. But you've got to focus on these good businesses. Yeah. So businesses that will do well, any business.
Give us good businesses off the top of your head.
I'll give you one that'll shock you. Yeah. I actually think, I don't know about 66 cents, you know.
You've got 1 minute. Oh, yeah.
I actually think a business like Flight Centre, if the Aussie dollar falls, it'll get hit really hard by people who believe wrongly that it's going to suffer when the Aussie dollar falls. It's not about the Aussie dollar for Flight Centre. It is all about competition in airlines and cheap airfares. And people will travel if the Aussie dollar is low if they can get a cheap airfare. Yeah. And Flight Centre will benefit. Plus, it's just about spread all around the world.
It's a diversified company.
Earning more and more of its revenue from overseas. So that is an opportunity. If the Aussie dollar does fall, everyone will react. They'll sell the stock, but that'll be the time to buy.
Next time you're back, I want you to give me 5 good companies that you would buy on the basis if the currency dropped to 75 or 80%.
Okay, we'll see you in a
great
fortnight.
stuff. That's the end of the show. Roger, of course, has taken more time than he should have, but he's so enjoyable to listen to, I gave him that time. Thanks for joining us. I'll see you next week.